You think they might make JSA a full faction? Well, they kind of are in their sectorial. No, I don't think N5 will come out yet. So with the questions asked on the stream, I got everything wrong there. I didn't think anything was going to happen. So when I actually found out the news from Gencon, oh my god, big changes in Infinity. I am pretty surprised. So I'm putting this video together just to kind of share my thoughts of what's going on with CB. Because right now, Corvus Belli are moving a mile a minute. They have no chill. And I'm surprised at how much is going on right now that I have to just do this kind of ad hoc video. I've had a busy day at work. I've got a busy week ahead of me. You could probably tell by my face how tired I look, but I felt like I just got to get on and talk a little bit about what's happening right now. Oh my god. There's stuff happening way before this, and I haven't even had a chance to talk about it yet, which is crazy. So, first of all, we've got this Lex and Otis animated TV series announcement for Infinity, which just came out of left field. It was like, wait, what's happening? That's crazy. And then you go and watch the trailer and you're like, this looks pretty damn good. And so it's got my hopes up that we've got like a pretty decent show that will be coming in the hopefully not too distant future. But I hope they just spend the time that they need on it to make it as good as possible. But from the trailer, the voice acting sounds good. The action looks pretty cool. The style is very, very nice as well. It kind of coincides, it kind of lines up with kind of the whole anime aesthetic of Infinity with the comic books and everything. And it has Assassin Baram, which is like the greatest faction. It was like the faction that brought me into Infinity way back when. So really, really happy to hear about that, and I'm going to be excited to see what happens with it. So yeah, that was really, really cool. So they've also got a new AI announced as well called Sibilla, and it's where you can just ask questions about Infinity, you can ask about lore, you can ask about rules. Initially it didn't have any rules stuff in it, but now it seems to actually talk a little bit about the rules and things and help you with any questions about the rules, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure if I trust an AI to understand the full nuance of a question that I might have that's kind of difficult to answer. I feel that's kind of like a dangerous territory to put things in for checking rules and things, but it's pretty cool. I've found it really, really useful for lore. It was absolutely excellent. I think if you've seen my channel at all, about 2 years ago, I released a video about the thing that I thought was wrong with Infinity, or wasn't very strong in Infinity. And for me, that was kind of the lore in terms of the characters inhabiting the world of Infinity, or the universe, should I say. And I know that since that video, Corvus Belli have released more comics, they've released more books, which do give a lot more character lore, which has been really, really great. And then, of course, now they've got the animated series, which is fantastic. But the problem that sparked that was that I couldn't find any information online about Victor Mesa. And usually when I was painting models then and doing a video on painted models, I would do a little bit of a lore introduction before getting into how I approach painting a model. And I couldn't find anything on Victor Mesa. But so I thought, hey, I'll just jump in and I'll just type in some questions about Victor Mesa. And I went down a whole rabbit hole of learning more about Victor Mesa that I didn't even know about. So just for that, just for getting kind of more of that lore at hand through Sibilla, that's a really cool feature. So I've been kind of enjoying that a lot. Anyway, I've been kind of going on about those two announcements in pretty big detail when, oh my god, I can't even say it right. Gencon just dropped the N5 news, and I was like, what? We're getting N5 on top of Warcrow, on top of everything else that's going on. CB have no chill. They just don't relax at all. And so far, like, the news that's coming out looks really, really promising. It looks like they're really trying to update the game, keeping all of its core mechanics true to what Infinity is, but making it more approachable to people. And that's come at like the best time for me right now, because I've been living in Osaka for many years, and nobody plays Infinity, or I couldn't find anyone that plays Infinity. I finally found like a little wargaming group that are in Osaka, and suddenly in their Discord they were just like, you know what, I want to try this Infinity game, looks really, really interesting and things. And I'm just like jumping in there like, yay, okay, I'm gonna do some demo games. Okay, if you want to try it out, I got some demo games I can play with you. So that's really exciting, because now I'm hopefully gonna start seeing a community. I can actually start playing physical games rather than just on Tabletop Simulator, which is fantastic. But on top of that, we've got a new N5 coming out with streamlined rules that will hopefully make things a little bit easier for new players to jump into. Perfect timing. And we've gotten a little bit of a hint as to what those rule changes might be. So one of those is going to be the damage change on weapons. So throughout the game, you basically roll under a target number that you got to roll. So your ballistic skill is 14. You're at a range which gives you +3, so that goes up to a 17, but the opponent's in cover, that's -3, you're on 14. So you roll the dice and you try and get 14 or under. Nice and simple, easy to understand in that sense. And once you introduce the face-to-face rolls, it makes a lot of sense. I basically kind of introduce it as blackjack with dice, and you have the number that you're aiming towards is defined by your character trait, or your stat line, and plus the modifiers. But whenever you do damage, it's this roll that you have to roll over, and it does have a jarring effect when you're not used to it, because you're like, I'm rolling under. Wait a minute, now I've got to roll over, and this person has armor 3, so I actually have to -3 from the roll, don't plus it. And it causes like a bit of a cognitive dissonance or something. It just causes like a brain fart in your brain sometimes when you're trying to figure those things out. So what they've done is, it looks like they've changed damage to probability of survival, which rather than, for example, damage 16, it becomes probability of survival 4, for instance. And that means that when you're rolling your saving roll, you have to roll 4 or under, which goes in line with everything else that you're doing in the game. And then if you have armor 3, you +3 to the number. So much easier to think about, so much easier to approach, so much easier to explain to new players, and it keeps everything in line. It's just that one simple change, just that is really good. So I'm very excited then to see what N5 brings. Something else that's come up from the Gencon kind of news bubble and things like that is the fact that there's unit cards as well now. Now, we don't really have a lot of information about these unit cards, although they look really cool. And I think for starter sets, they're going to be really, really useful for new players to get used to the game. I don't know if we're going to be seeing unit cards for everything, because one of the strengths of Infinity is that there are so many profiles that you can choose from to kind of tweak your army that you're building. So choosing the loadout of your characters and choosing a profile that has specific skills and things like that means that you would end up having to have a lot of these stat cards. So I don't think they're going to be for your general play. I think they're going to be for starter sets to introduce people to the game. And I think that is awesome. That is a much better move than trying to introduce a whole new game called Code 1. So it looks like Code 1's going bye-byes. So, oh well, it's not end of the world stuff, but it was a good try while they tried it. It didn't quite gel with N4 at the time. So I think this kind of approach with the starter sets, which gives you basically a lot more information to just step into the game more comfortably, is going to be really, really great. But I don't think we're going to be seeing these stat cards for general use. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that one. So we'll have to see what happens with those. But it's a pretty cool feature for the starter set, I would imagine. We also have this one completely threw me through a loop, is that JSA are going to become their own faction. I know they're really popular, but I never really thought that they would become their own faction because there just doesn't seem to be enough models. So obviously they're going to be growing they're growing this faction even more, so that there are a lot more profiles, I imagine, coming. So we've got the announcement of new reinforcements for the JSA. These all look really cool. Very excited for them all. But this also opens up the question of, it depends on how M5 is approached, but now you have vanilla JSA. So with the models that we only have at the moment, though, that means vanilla JSA loses all the benefits of being a sectorial. So fire teams and things like that is my understanding. Again, we don't know much about M5, so there's probably a lot that could change things, and I'm sure they will. But from an N4 perspective, it doesn't feel like there's enough to be a vanilla faction. And that also raises the question of, do we then get a number of sectorials? Are we going to get a couple of sectorials within the JSA itself? And what are they going to be looking like? There's a lot of exciting things. And as a JSA player myself, I'm super excited to see what happens. I'll be super excited to see, even though the next starter set is going to have a Pan-O army in there, and I'm not crazy about Pan-O, but who knows? I could maybe step in and get one little faction of Pan-O perhaps to go along with the JSA in the next starter set that's coming. And of course I'll have to paint them up like my tag raid Pan-O in bright jade, pink and yellow, because that's rocking. That's the only way I can make Pan-O rocking. But yeah, that's going to be nice. So yeah, I'm really super excited to see what happens with N5 and more news that's coming. It's going to be coming in like October, which is just around the corner. This is crazy. Everything's moving so fast. So it's quite exciting. Now that's kind of, that's all Infinity stuff. So there's still also Warcrow as well. So at Gencon they had a video about Warcrow and its release schedule. So there was nothing too exciting to unpack out of Warcrow because I think Infinity was their main focus. The fact that they're dropping N5 does put Warcrow now into a little bit of a shadow as it's being released, which is what surprised me about announcing N5. I'm wondering if just, you know, stars aligned and they were just like, we've got to jump in and do N5. But I think it's now overshadowed Warcrow a little bit at this current moment in Gen Con. However, I'm going to be excited for a lot of Warcrow because I think it's going to be a really cool game. I've enjoyed playing with what I've got so far. I'm looking forward to expanding. So talking about expanding, we're going to be seeing, first of all, the Beyond set coming out very soon. So that's going to be released pretty soon. So I'm hoping to pick that one up as soon as I can because I really want to just expand the army that I've got so I can have some proper bigger games, which would be lovely. Now they're also releasing the Yaldabelth card set, which is going to give all of the cards for the Scions that are released in the Adventures set, the Warcrow Adventures set. And what's curious about this as well is they're also releasing the unit cards for the expansion, which have the what's called the red caps, which is kind of already hinting towards possible sectorials in Warcrow, which is going to be pretty cool. At the moment, I think that's probably going to be focused in on Scions, just because there's so many models already for Scions because of Warcrow Adventures. It's a bit like the Shazvasti in Infinity Defiance kind of thing. We just got so many of them in there. Now, with that, there's also going to be a new faction release down the line. Now, there are no actual months set for these, so how far down the line, I have no idea. But there's a new faction that's going to be coming out. Which faction is a good question. So there's Mount Haven, which are the dwarves. There's the Senan, which are the elves, and they're looking like pretty evil looking elves, like proper feral elves. They're looking pretty cool. I'm not normally an elf lover, but they're looking like the nasty side of elves, which is pretty cool. We've got the oh, I've forgotten the faction name, and I'm going to say the faux Bretonian faction. Feudum, remembered it. Which one do we think is going to be released? If I was a betting man, I would probably say that Feudum is going to be released. We've kind of seen a few more models, I feel, of the Feudum faction than others. And I have a feeling that they're going to be the next one. Although we already have a kind of a human faction, but it's a human dwarf elf faction, so it kind of throws all of them into the mix in that sense. Then we're going to be seeing an army app produced as well, so I'll be looking forward to getting that one. That's going to be really, really cool to try out. And then there's going to be the competitive scene is also brought out. It's going to be difficult to know what the competitive scene is going to be like because we haven't been able to play any full-scale games yet. Until we can actually play full-scale games, it's very, very hard to imagine what the competitive scene is going to be like or what kind of ITS missions we're going to be getting for Warcrow and how they will play. But I'll be looking forward to all of this stuff. So basically the more ways that I can play the game, the more exciting it's going to be. So I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff that's coming from Warcrow. It's going to be good. Now, there is also all of the current factions, which is the hegemony of Embasig and the Northern Tribes. Every month they're going to be getting new models as well. So we'll be able to flesh out these two factions hopefully fairly quickly. By the end of the year, I think we'll basically have a full roster of models that we can choose from for these two factions especially. So that's going to be quite exciting. I mean, the new faction release could... I don't think they're going to release a whole another starter set with two factions in it. I think it will just be one faction, maybe with a few more models, so you're just like up and running a little faster with that. That'd be kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of the Northern Tribes and the Hegemony. I like both of those armies, so I'm happy to, when I have the money, collect them and get them up to 250 points each and play a proper full game, because I really want to see what this game is like when you have everything that you need to have a full game. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be about it. I'm sure we're going to see lots of rumors, lots of news coming. I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents, 10 cents, 50 cents, however much you think my sense is worth. I think I'm making no sense right now because it's so late. So I'm going to just say thanks very much, guys, for watching. Let me know what you're excited for with all of these announcements. Are CB doing too much? Are they not doing enough? Or is it just right? Let me know down in the comments. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.